Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
It's Art the Clown. No, it's JD. It's JD. Art the Clown
Oh,
doesn't speak. It's just JD, guys. Just JD.
Art
I
the
can't ever
Clown.
do
No,
it normal. I can't ever do
here's the
it
thing, JD.
normal.
I didn't tell you this ahead of time, but Art the Clown actually is here today to record with us. Art the Clown, say hi. Oh, he's
Oh my
waving in a really funny
god.
way.
Where is
Wow.
he? I don't see him waving.
Oh, I didn't give him a webcam either. But he does have a microphone. He can use it if he wants to. He's saying no, he doesn't want to use it.
Oh.
He does have a
I'm
knife.
I'm
I
I'm
don't know if the knife
I'm
is
so
something I should be
confused
concerned
right now.
because
Are
Art
you
the Clown
talking
doesn't
about your
talk,
little
so
Art
him
the
being a
Clown
pod.
toy thing? Are you talking
Well,
about that fun Art the
no,
Clown toy thing you got?
no. I was just making a joke about how Art the Clown would be a great podcast guest because he doesn't talk.
Oh.
That's all.
I thought for a minute you were serious about Art the Clown being there, and I was like, "What are you?
Well,
What
now I have him.
is what's is okay? Yeah, see the. Anyway, guys, we're talking about Terrifier today. Is that correct, Michelle?
It is, and now I do have my little Art the Clown stress ball because I'm gonna
Yeah,
need it.
yeah, we're talking about Terrifier, the original feature film Terrifier. Some of you will
Yep, not
recall
the
that for
short clip.
Right. For Spooktober last year, when we did Short Film Month, we did a week on short films that became feature films, and we talked about the short film Terrifier. And now we're going to talk about the feature film Terrifier. Michelle, we didn't
Yeah,
bother to prepare ahead of time, so what are we doing for
the
the
scripty
plot
script.
summary on this film?
I am doing the IMDb one. It's actually pretty good. Do you
Do
want me to read it?
it.
Sweet. On Halloween night, Tara Hayes finds herself as the obsession of a sadistic murderer known as Art the Clown. Terrifier, 2016, unrated, hour 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Terrifier.
I mean, in a
Yeah,
lot of ways that's everything there is to know about Terrifier. Should I do
exactly.
my spoiler? Should I do my spoiler free thoughts, Michelle?
Well, since we have our guest here, Art the Clown, what do you think about Terrifier? Oh, he gave it 2 thumbs up. Okay, now JD, now our guest has to. It's rude otherwise. Okay, what are your spoiler-free thoughts? I'm not going to explain to him that we use a skull-based system. I don't want to make this clown mad. He doesn't seem like the type of person to anger. Okay, yeah, I'd like to hear your spoiler-free thoughts, JD.
So, I did go back. I've seen Terrifier once before, because I knew it was a movie that got a lot of hype and people were really thrilled for, and were like, "Oh, this is actually a really good sort of thing like we haven't seen in a long time." And of course, there's the famous scene in the middle of it that we'll talk about in more detail later, and everything. I watched it, and my initial reaction was like, "I don't think this is bad. It's just like it's just a bunch of people getting killed. Like it's like the ultimate in paring down the slasher story to nothing but just like a sequence of killing and whatnot. And I wasn't too thrilled with it. And we talked in the short film episode about how I thought this worked significantly better as a short film than it did as a feature. All that to say, I finally watched Terrifier, the feature length film, for the second time in preparation for this episode. And what I've got to say is, I don't know what the fuck I missed the first time, but this is a pretty alright movie. There's definitely not a lot going on, but there's a basic plot here. It's just very narrow and very limited in detail. But I also, frankly, find myself wondering, because we're recording this in July, just shortly after I've seen In a Violent Nature, and I don't know if maybe the dramatic lack of stuff. Like, I thought nothing happened in this movie, and then I saw that movie, and I don't know if maybe that influenced anything or not. But no, I mean, I don't know what the fuck Damien Leone has against faces. But he mutilated a bunch of them in this movie in a whole lot of weird ways. But no, this is pretty all right. I give this a 4 skulls.
Nice. Four skulls from JD. I did not expect you to go that high on it. So that's good.
I
That's
didn't either. Because like I said, the it wasn't something that I thought was terrible. I was just like, man, there is nothing to this. And I didn't feel the same way the second time through. So
awesome. Would you like to hear my thoughts on it?
I, of course, would. You always ask before I have an opportunity to ask you. You always
I
ask if I
know.
want to ask you before I get to ask you, and then it sounds like I
Yep.
wasn't going to ask you, and I look like the bad guy.
No, I think you were going to ask me. For the record, let the record show that I know JD would eventually ask me, no matter
Now,
what. I
eventually
know you
ask
would
me.
ask me.
Now you're it's like you're just
No, I'm saying that as long as we kept recording, it could be 5 seconds, it could be 5 minutes from now. I know eventually you would give in and ask me, even if you were deliberately not asking me. And if I refused to speak until you did, I know you would give in. That's all. It's just an inevitability.
Can you give us your spoiler-free thoughts, please, Michelle?
I would love to. Okay. Art the Clown is, I'm going to say a thing. I usually don't operate in absolutes because only cis operate in absolutes, but I will say, knowing that somebody is going to find a recording and prove me wrong, that Art the Clown is my favorite horror movie villain. I love him. He's like Dennis the Menace with knives. I love it. One word to describe him: excessive. Everything he does is excessive. He's just constantly performing. I feel like we just did our Dr. Giggles recording last week, and I feel like if I was a horror movie villain, I would be somewhere between Dr. Giggles and Art the Clown. Love it. Love it so much. Do I give it 5? I haven't decided. No. No. I'm going to give it a 4.75 because it's not the greatest horror movie of all time, but I do love Art the Clown. And so I do want to see more. Terrifier 2 would also probably be like a 4.5, 4.75 as well. Maybe Terrifier 3 will give me that 5 skull, but god damn, I love Art the Clown. Art the Clown has a Menace to Society as a 5 skull. The movie about him from 2016 is a 4.75.
Right on. 4 skulls for me, 4.75 for Michelle. That's a 4.375 average. That's a pretty damn good score for
Yeah, it
Terrifier, the
is.
feature film. If you have never seen Terrifier before, you've been living under a goddamn rock, I'd was go watch it. It's one of those movies where if you consider yourself any kind of a reasonable horror fan, you've probably heard about it and seen it. If you haven't seen it, uh, right that wrong. And then come back and listen to us spoil the movie. Are you ready to spoil fuck out of this movie, Michelle?
Only if we can acknowledge that to right this wrong implies that there is a way to wrong the right. And I think that if they're not going to right the wrong, that they should wrong the right and let us know what they did. That's all.
There's
And yeah,
definitely a
I'm
way
ready
to
to
do that,
spoiler.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to
Wrong the
point
right
out
and tell us about it.
in case this gets wonky that we are having a little bit of an audio delay in our recording tonight. I think it's all going to work out, but if we're stumbling over each other more than usual, I apologize. If you don't want spoilers, go away now. Come back when you're done watching the movie. Michelle, tell these people what happens.
Sure. Go away, but then come back later. Okay, so Terrifier. Fuck, I watched it 2 days ago. How am I gonna sum up this movie? So Art the Clown, he's a guy and a clown. Spoiler, he's a clown. And he sees a lady and he like a little lady. Oh no, we start though with a news report of a lady who had her face ripped off, and they're like, whoa, your face got ripped off. That kind of sucks. And she's like, yeah, it absolutely did. Thanks for bringing it up. And then the news anchor is in her dressing room and she's laughing at the lady she just had on her show about like, ha ha ha, let's laugh at the victim who was mutilated by a killer. That sounds like a great idea. And then the lady who was mutilated, she shows up and she mutilates the other lady, and like eye for an eye. This movie takes that to new levels. And so then she mutilates the news anchor lady, and that's pretty fun. And then we cut to Halloween, and Tara is out with her friend. I don't remember the friend's name. I only know Tara's because I just read in the IMDb description. No, I will not go look it up. And they're out and on Halloween, and they see a creepy clown. And the one girl, she's drunk, so she's like, "Ha ha ha, let's flirt with him." And the other girl's like, "Uh." And then they go to a pizza place, and they're like, "Whoa, Art the Clown is here. How do we know his name? It's in the description of the movie." And then Art the Clown, he's there. He's being a menace. He goes to the bathroom. He gets kicked out of the bathroom. The owner's yelling at him. He shoves his bag after him, and they're like, "Wow, we should probably go home now." And so then they get in the car, but they don't go home because they ran out of gas. They got a flat tire. Their tire was stabbed. Right, probably by Art the Clown. That's what happens. And then they're like, "Whoa, I have to pee, but I don't know where to go pee." And they're like, "You have to go to the warehouse." And she's like, "It's Halloween. I probably shouldn't do that." And she's like, "Go pee there anyway." And then she goes to like the weirdest bathroom ever. It looks like something out of Saw. I saw that. One of the scariest things I've ever seen in a horror movie was that bathroom. There's no fucking way. No way am I taking my pants off in that place. Are you kidding me? That is a yeast infection waiting to happen. No way. I will piss myself before I put my ass on that toilet seat. I won't even hover. It's not happening. Are you kidding me? So yeah, she goes to the bathroom. Oh, before she goes to the bathroom, we cut back to the pizza place, and Art the Clown is just menacing and stabbing people, and he lights a guy's face on fire, and that was really cool. That's really cool. That's what I
I
mean.
told
That,
you, Damien Leone hates
yeah,
faces.
it's so good though. Art the Clown really puts the art in Art the Clown. You know, like that is art. That is horror art. So then he murdered some people, and now we're back at the warehouse, and the girl, some shenanigans happen, doesn't matter. She is tied to a chair, and she wakes up, and her friend is hanging upside down by the legs. And Art the Clown has a hacksaw, and he rips the girl's clothes off and then starts hacksawing from her vulva down. I thought the yeast infection from the bathroom was bad. I bet the burning feeling from the hacksaw was probably worse. I would put money on it. So that's like a terrible fucking way to die. Are you kidding me? You wouldn't even pass out right away. It would take so long. But also, Art the Clown, he does not skip a gym day because he must be really buff in order to be able to put enough pressure to saw through her that way. It's actually kind of impressive. Like, I hope someday we get a shirtless Art the Clown because I bet he's ripped. Oh, we did get a shirtless clown in this movie. Totally forgot. But he does have another woman's breasts on him, so I guess maybe I missed the six pack underneath that. So yeah, that girl's friend, she gets murdered real hard. And then it's like a cat and mouse thing where she keeps trying to get away, and Art tries to find her. Some really silly things happen. One of them, this is why I love Art the Clown. He's trying to get to her behind a chain door, and he can only get his arm in, and he's swiping all over trying to grab her. And then he takes his arm back and he puts it back, and he's got a bike horn and is just aggressively honking at her. That's not for anybody's amusement except his own, and it's hilarious. Or she stabbed him or something, and he like silently yelled, didn't even make a sound, and then just flipped her off as she ran away. And that's so funny. I love that Art the Clown is his own biggest fan. So then at the end, Art the Clown, he dies. He gets shot in the head. But then it confirms the entire movie. You're like, is this guy just brave and doesn't care about consequences, or is there a supernatural aspect? And finally, we get confirmation. There's definitely a supernatural aspect of some sort where he definitely cannot die, and that's why he don't give a fuck. Lots of murder, lots of bloody good times, lots of squelches. I had no idea. I only had one squelching subtitle from this movie. I rewatched it and I wrote down 5 timestamps, and I bet I missed some. So squelching subtitles, going on to the squelch files, really excited about that. Terrifier, it's a movie. It's good. I like it. The end.
Yeah, like I said, the first time I saw this movie, I was very taken by like this is almost, it's not a real time presentation, but it's a very, like, it takes, the entire movie takes place over just a few hours at most, right? Like it may be maybe even just a couple of, it might be almost real time as things play out. And it moves from set piece to set piece so quickly that my reaction initially is just like, man, there's no story here, and like a complete dummy, like, no, the story is just that experience, right? It's like, what if we took a slasher movie and just stripped it down to just none of the backgrounding, none of the kids at the camp during the day, none of the stalking, none of that first half hour to 45 minutes build up. Dude shows up, we do all of that in 5 minutes, and now we watch him stalk and torment these kids or these victims for the entire movie. And there are little threads, right? There are other people who, clearly the girl is distressed, but they're trying to help her. I don't know that any of them actually believe that there's this crazy clown maniac who's trying to kill her. Her sister comes in and gets involved. What I really noticed this time around that I didn't notice the first time is, I know you find this movie funny. Art the Clown came off way more fucking sinister and scary to me this time around. It almost felt like the silent version of like Bill Moseley's Otis Driftwood, specifically from The Devil's Rejects, where he's like just mocking and berating people, just belittling their pain and their torment. Their people are screaming and flipping out, and he's just like flapping his hands and just like there was just something so sinister and cold about it that I felt this time around that I just didn't catch the first time, and I really really liked that. Like, this guy is kind of fucking terrifying. Interesting. I mean, no pun intended.
I was gonna say. Uh, so when I say that he's hilarious, I think my level of finding him hilarious matches the level of sinister, and that's why he's my favorite horror movie villain. Because it's funny you mentioned Otis Driftwood, Redwood, what's his last name? Otis, whatever. I
Driftwood.
always forget the last one. Driftwood, thank you. Um, because I love Devil's Rejects, and I've never even thought of Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, House of a Thousand Corpses, like that trilogy. Love that trilogy and love those characters who are also trying to be malevolent, but also they think they're funny. And I, as the audience, am laughing along, even though it's depraved bullshit that they are doing. And I'm glad you made that connection because I had not before. I also love Devil's Rejects and I like Art the Clown. Apparently, I like somebody who finds themselves funny, and that adds to the scariness. So just had
Yeah,
to comment. I think that's interesting.
I thought specifically of and I don't want to give away too much, but the motel sequence in The Devil's
Yeah.
Rejects, and the way all three of them are just like she's crying and screaming, and they're just like just mocking her pain to their own, just like you said, their own like legitimate amusement. They think this is the funniest shit in the world, and it's like it's pretty fucking sick. Which was your favorite moment of facial destruction in this film?
Okay, I gotta
Because
think of all the facial destruction.
I think
Ooh,
there's
I
about
know.
half a dozen faces that get fucked up in
Yeah,
this movie. Like, I don't
yeah.
say Damien Leone hates faces for no reason.
I didn't even think of it, but when I was doing my recap, I forgot to mention that halfway through the final girl dies. So now she's not the final girl, it's her sister who comes back.
Also,
And then her sister Yes,
go
JD.
ahead,
Hang on.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh,
Talk about
okay.
her sister.
I'll be quick. Yeah, so the sister shows up, and then the sister gets her face mutilated, and it turns out that she's the girl from the very beginning with the interview. It all comes back around, and so what we just watched was what happened leading up to that interview. Forgot to mention that in the recap because there was so much cat and mouse that I completely forgot. It all changes. But I think that reveal. So the sister is my favorite mutilation because I completely forgot that happens. Just when I think of the plot, I think like that girl we see at the beginning is the girl at the end who gets her face mutilated because that's how it works in these movies. When she died, I didn't even believe it at first because Art the Clown just shoots her with a gun. He's just like
Yes,
maniacal. He doesn't give
yes.
a fuck. Nothing fantastic about it. It's so shocking in how simple it is that it was unbelievable. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was. That's what I was gonna point out when you mentioned how it breaks that trope where there's this girl who is very clearly being positioned to be the final girl, and then she dies halfway through the movie. And I was just like, yeah, not only does she die, but he just like you can see it, like you and in the way he portrays. What's the fella's name who plays Art the Clown? David Howard Thornton.
David Howard Thornton. Yep.
Yeah, he's out there and he's done all this different stuff, and she just won't die, and he's just like this exasperation on his face, and he just flops his arms, and he's like fine, and then he just pulls out the gun and plays like it's the last thing he wanted to do. Like he doesn't want, like he wants to have fun mutilating people, right? But also
Don't we all?
when it comes right down to it, he's like, fine, I'll just blast you. And even then, he shoots her 3 or 4 times in the face. I wonder
Yeah.
if Damien Leone just like, because he's a special effects guy by trade, and this is a movie that he made. Is he was like, I do these kind of effects. I can make this movie. I want to show you what I would see if I was making, or if I wanted to make a movie. I wonder if he just had an excess of heads available to him, and he was like, "Man, we are gonna mutilate some fucking heads."
Oh man,
That
that's
that that
my
this
Saturday
movie could
night.
have
Am
been.
I right?
This movie could be called Mutilated Heads. It really could.
It absolutely could. Yeah, that's also something great that you brought up. That is another reason that I love this so much. Practical effects. None of this is CGI. This is all practical effects and really fucking good practical effects. And like, bravo. I love it. I love to see it. Yeah, I do think he might have had just like an abundance of faces. When he shot her a bunch of times in the face, that's when I wrote my note of this man is excessive because like he doesn't shoot her once. He knows she's dead.
Like
He
three or
just
four
keeps
times.
shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to do everything to the extreme and I love it. I don't ever want to encounter him. Sorry, Art. I know you're sitting across the table from me because you are a guest at this show today. But we're just not going to acknowledge that, and I don't want to come across this man in a dark alley. That's all. I will try not
I
to speak ill of him.
we do we'd be remiss if we didn't spend some time specifically talking about the hacksaw sequence. This, of course,
Oh,
is a legendary moment for this film. I have been
yeah.
legendary in my assertion that my only real issue with it is that putting it in the middle of the film just makes everything that comes later kind of anticlimactic in a lot of ways. Um, I do wish there's one thing about it that just made it feel a little bit extra creepy. So when he pulls the curtain away and she's hanging there, she is almost completely nude except for like bikini bottoms, right? Like, you know, where it's the SpongeBob's place where he lives. And then we cut, and obviously, like the actress is like, "Look, yes, I'll let you hang me up by my ankles. Yes, I'll be topless. It's fine. I'm not." With especially if my legs are going to be spread out like this, I am not going to take my underwear off. And they're like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then they cut to a reverse angle where you can't really see, and this is where Art starts cutting in a see where you just see the blood coming, and then they switch to another angle with the special effects body that he's sawing in half. But he takes like 2 seconds to take her underwear off.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, like that
Yep.
moment. It's like, did we really need this in here?
We
Oh,
did.
God.
We did need it because I
Oh,
had the exact same reaction. It made me like the fact that he does it sticks with
yeah.
me so much because he's
Yeah,
like,
it's
no, if
so
I'm gonna
gross.
mutilate this, I want to see it up close and personal. Nothing left to
Ah,
the
it's
imagination.
it's real
Awful.
real gross. Yeah, it's
Oh, Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he they in both Terrifiers, we're not going to say what happens in Terrifier 2, but like you mentioned and in other movies that we won't name, this is a thing that you pointed out. Now I can't
Drives
help
me
but
nuts.
see that you
Stop
have
putting
like
your
a
best gore moment in the middle of
yeah,
your movie. What are you
or
thinking?
do your best gore moment and do your second best gore moment at the end. I'm okay with that
This
too.
is
I am okay with the best being in the middle and keeping me interested and then doing second best at the end as a finale. But none of these have like I mean, I guess like ripping or like mutilating the girl's face at the end is a horrifying concept, but we don't see it. And I
right.
need to see it. I need to see
I
it.
uh
You got to satiate.
I did go back and re-listen to our episode that we did about the short film back in October last year, just because I was curious because I didn't really remember. We watch so many of these and we do so many episodes that I don't always remember exactly how I felt about things. I only bring it up again because at some point in the episode I was talking about how this might have been almost a prequel to how the short film might have been a prequel to this in a lot of ways. Because I was saying something about how there's a facial makeup of one of the characters in the short film that I was certain was almost identical to the facial makeup of the woman at the beginning in this, who, as we learn in this movie, is Tara's sister. What is it, Victoria?
Yeah, I
I
remember that too. Okay.
but I no, the only thing I was bring it up because as I was listening to it, I was like, I mean, it's probably not the same character, dummy. He just probably still had that makeup and was like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna use it in this movie too. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's
Okay,
probably what
that makes sense.
happened. It's like,
I thought
I
you were going to tell me no, it's confirmed that it was the same lady.
no,
Yeah, no,
I
you're
was just
probably right.
listening to that episode and listening to myself just so confidently say, "Oh man, I wonder maybe this is like a tying together." But and I was like, "Well, first of all, they very clearly tell you who the lady with the mutilated face at the beginning of Terrifier is. Clearly not the lady from the short film." But yeah, I was just sitting there, it's like, yeah, you like listening to myself. I was like, yeah, you dummy, you probably just reused the makeup.
I had not considered it, so I guess I'm also a dummy. We're all dummies
Oh,
here, and you know
we're
what? Not Art
dumb.
the Clown. Dude seems like
Nope.
he's just angry and dumb for a little bit, but he is smart and ruthless. I love him. I love him so much. Don't want to encounter him. Do love him.
Creepy.
Do want many, many more movies from him.
Uh,
Do not want him
you
murdered by
you
me.
have seen Terrifier 2, correct?
Yes, yes, I
Um,
have.
I think so it's weird because excuse me.
Uh
We'll
oh.
have to cough suppress that. No, throw a little Dex on it anyway. I thought it was in what the fuck was I about to talk about? This cough just
Terrifier 2.
completely derailed. Yeah. So I mentioned that one of my criticisms of it of the original Terrifier was that I felt like it was very light on story. It was very slim on plot. And I had heard at least one interview with Damien Leone where he talked specifically about how he had heard that sort of criticism about it, and he didn't necessarily entirely disagree with it, and that was one of the things that he focused on doing with Terrifier 2, is trying to add more story and more character development and such to it. My biggest issue with Terrifier 2 is that movie is 2.5 hours long. We'll probably talk about it in its own episode somewhere down the line. I don't know for sure where. Maybe we already have. Maybe we found an excuse to do it before we got to October. I don't know.
I think
How?
Terrifier 3 comes out before this episode. So maybe we
No,
talk about it
Terrifier
then.
3. Oh, does it come out in October? I thought it was a Christmas thing and was coming out in
It
December.
is October 11th.
Oh,
So it's
shit.
iffy.
Well, this
Yeah,
is going to be like an October. No, this episode drops before with that movie. This is like an October 6th, I
6th.
believe,
Okay.
is when this
You
episode
guys are
is.
recording in July. This is when we obligatorily tell
Yeah.
you that we
Is it
recorded these
is it
early.
October 6th, 2024 or later? If not, man, something's real fucking weird.
Is it October 12th or later? Hey, congrats, guys. Terrifier's out in theaters. You should go see it.
Yeah, go check Terrifier
It's
3.
great. Terrifier
Even
3, whoa, just popped in my time machine and I came back. It's a banger.
yeah,
It's
regardless
real
of
good.
whatever your thoughts are on anything else, just go see it because it's a horror movie, an independent horror
It's a
movie in a
widely
movie
released
theater.
horror movie, and we need more of those.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't really have a whole lot more to say about Terrifier, except I'm glad I did go back and give it another shot because I definitely enjoyed it significantly more, and I kind of get what people really dig about it.
I have a question.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to this question for myself. Do you want to know Art the Clown's background?
Um, no.
I don't think I
For
do either.
no, for the same reason that I don't want to know, and is part of what I don't like about most of the rest of the franchise. I don't give a shit about Michael Myers' backstory either. Here's what I care about. There's this fucking psychopath who's painted up like a clown, who's just going around murdering people. I don't think this is the kind, like, there is a kind of movie where you're telling that story and you're going to talk about why, but I don't think that's always necessary, and that is part of what I think it, I think it especially works here because of the fact that this is almost a real time movie, right? Because it's almost that experience is we're just dropping in on when he comes into, like, he meets these people, decides they're going to be his next victims, and then we just watch the next couple hours while he stalks and murders a bunch of people, including other people who get involved and try to help. I think it works specifically because of that framing. And I don't even remember where I was going with this. So thumbs up, Damian Leone.
I think I'm in agreement with you mostly. I have a feeling the reason I wondered is because Terrifier 3 is coming out, apparently has not come out yet at the time of this recording. I have a
Unless you're
feeling it's
listening
got to
to it
be,
well after it dropped.
well, for you and I in the current recording time, it is definitely not out. It is July 10th. So I have a feeling Terrifier 3 is coming out. It's got to be something that they've discussed. And I have a feeling that they're gonna go into it at some point, and I kind of hope they don't. I like the mysterious. I don't ever want to see him as a human. I know that. I hope he was born as a clown and raised by even more malicious clowns. That kind of backstory I can get behind. Art the Clown being a young kid named Jacob who was bullied in school, not interested. I don't want that. And I don't
No,
think they'd
not
give us that.
remotely.
But like, I do kind of like the idea of Art the Clown as like, he was born Art the Clown and he was raised to be the best clown.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's what,
yeah.
because that's how I got on the subject. Like, look, here's all I ever needed to know about Michael Myers in Halloween is he was like 6 years old and something just broke in him and he decided to murderize his sister. And then he came out again like 15 years later and decided he needed to murder some more people. Like, he just cracked, killed some folks. I don't need to know if Art the Clown is a real person. I don't need to know if he's some sort of weird demon thing. I don't need to know if he's some alien from outer space. Here's what I know. I know that a crazy dude in a clown costume showed up at a pizza parlor, wrote a bunch of stuff in shit all over the bathroom wall, and then proceeded to murderize a bunch of folks, including just one time in. I think that's also part of what I loved about the situation when he pulls out the gun is just the utter exasperation on his face. I'm just like, really? You're gonna make me do this?
Yeah.
David Howard Thornton, on second time through here, I really, really appreciate what he did with that character.
I love that for you because I love Art the Clown. I really do. I want more. Not
Well,
too
all
much.
right.
You gotta keep me wanting more. But like I after three, it's gotta be like a year and a half at least until the fourth one. Please don't start cranking them out regularly. I need to yearn. Yearn for it. It's half the fun. Okay.
Michelle, today as we
No.
record this is the day that Shudder announced that VHS Beyond came out a couple of days ago. You want to talk about weird timing?
Exciting.
VHS Beyond was released on October 4th. In
Oh,
fact, we did an
yes.
episode about it just a couple of days ago as people are listening to this today as it dropped. You remember that VHS Beyond episode that you guys heard just a couple of days ago? I bet you do.
It's very funny that you are now ruining my brain in the way that I ruined your brain by trying to tell you that Art the Clown was in the studio, because I know you don't do that type of humor. And I went, wait, VHS Beyond is out already? And I was Googling like while you were talking about it, because I was like,
No.
didn't we just hear about that today?
Yeah, as this episode drops on the
I
6th of
gotcha.
October, 2 days
Oh
ago,
my
we
God.
did an episode. Actually, it came out yesterday. The episode dropped yesterday
Well,
because the movie came out on the 4th, and then we released it. Anyway, Kate
Jesus.
Siegel directed a short. Mike Flanagan says it's pretty fucking great, which you would expect him to say on account of how they're married and stuff. But also, Mike Flanagan knows what's up. Justin Long apparently is co-directing something on here with Christian Long. I don't know why I suddenly turned this into a VHS Beyond thing, again, considering we already talked about it on that episode that we haven't recorded yet, because time is a flat circle and means nothing.
Yeah. All of this is an illusion. Please wake up from the coma. Your family misses you. You are trapped.
What are we talking
My
about
biggest fear.
tomorrow in Spooktober, Michelle?
We are talking about JD. Oh man, this is gonna be one to tune in for you guys. I hope so. Anyway, I don't know how this is going to go. But we are talking about Hubie Halloween, the Adam Sandler movie from 2020.
Hubie Halloween
I don't know how it's
is
gonna
the
go, but I'm excited
yeah.
for it.
That's what we're gonna be talking about. Hubie Halloween.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Netflix, Adam Sandler, Happy Madison. Anyway, we'll talk about it when we get there. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShutter.com, where you'll find our world-famous patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShutter on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShutter.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShutter.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shutter is a production of Rat Factory Media.